So today's show is a short one because I wanted to share something that I think you guys will find really helpful. And that's something that's happening in my life right now. I'm now on the East Coast and we just moved across the country. We were in California for 1 year and we just moved all the way back to Connecticut. And we bought a house here in Connecticut without seeing it. Luckily, it's wonderful, and we're slowly unpacking gazillion boxes and settling in. And as many of you know, moving is stressful, right? Moving is wonderful too, but even positive change is change, and it's change all at once. So, you're changing where you live, how you live, who your neighbors are, what your daily habits are, all the unpacking and all the shift in memories. It's quite a lot, right? So you guys know that I often talk about personality styles that we all have. And there's some sort of main passenger groups that we think of in our mind that we go deep into in HYR. But what I'm talking about here is personality types between us and other human beings. And we talk about the hailstorm, the turtle, the sheep, and the wolf. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, and you're like, is she having a stroke? What is she talking about, sheep and a wolf? Just know that I have mentioned it here and there in other Facebook Lives, and it's something that we go really deep in our challenges and inside HYR. So basically, I think of relationship interactions between you and another human being as being of one of four types. You might show up as a hailstorm. That's the person. Like, I could talk about a hailstorm for an hour, but just oversimplification, it's the person who is more anxious and thinking about the relationship a lot and brings up complaints. It's also the person that likes to follow rules and make to-do lists and go by the rules, right? Wants to have a plan. The turtle is the person who is sort of a little checked out. And it's usually like, what? Everything is fine. I'm fine. I don't care. I'm fine. And when the turtle is stressed, often goes completely into his or her shell and has a hard time even knowing what they're feeling, let alone putting it into words. So they often just don't talk. They shut down. But not so much in an angry shutdown way. It's just they just don't know how to describe their inner world very much. Sometimes it can be angry. If they're triggered, they can be an angry shutdown. The sheep is the person who is somewhat of a people pleaser. Is always looking at other people's facial expressions, is trying to emotionally manage everybody in the room, is always looking for connection, tends to give hugs a lot, right? Is a really struggles with boundaries, things like that. And then the wolf is the loner, the person who sort of has done it by themselves and relies a lot on themselves, has a lot of trouble with vulnerability, okay? And tends to be a protector, like looking out for danger. And sometimes because of that, they can mistake their spouse or their partner or their loved ones or their sister or their mom as being the source of danger. Okay, so that's a very superficial description of the four types. Now, I want to share with you guys today how I used this in my own life in the midst of this move. All right. So for context, I am a wolf and I tend to become a turtle when I'm triggered or stressed. I know that about myself now. So I catch myself and I don't shut down. I used to shut down for days. I remember like 20 years ago, the relationship I was in, I would not speak to that person for like a week. I would refuse to speak. Seems so embarrassingly silly now, but I just didn't know what else to do. I was so full of hurt and emotion, didn't know how to manage, that I would not speak to that person, refuse to answer a question even for a week. Right? So I know that about myself now. So I don't shut down like that anymore, but I have a propensity, and I know that about myself, and I know how to catch that and talk to myself and soothe myself and reconnect. So, but in general, think about a wolf is I got this, I don't really need anyone else, I struggle with being vulnerable, I make my own plans and I go get it done. Okay. My spouse is a sheep who turns into a hailstorm when upset. So with this context, we are moving, right? We're moving cross country. And a hailstorm, remember, is a person who likes to have a plan for the future. The future is what they're concerned about. They're always looking out for what if the mailman doesn't come, or the person is supposed to cut the grass doesn't come on time. And then what if we send the text to the wrong person? And what if, right? They're thinking 3 steps ahead about the future and anticipating all these problems. So, right. And so my spouse, Kristen, is always making to-do lists, always has a plan, follows the rules, and is a worrier. I, on the other hand, am a lone wolf. I think in my head, I do my own stuff. I don't even share my worries that much. I have to remind myself to be vulnerable and remind myself to share more with Kristen. Okay. So in the midst of all this, we're moving and there's all the chaos, right? Even in the best of situations, right? Even in the best of situations, when you're moving, things don't go according to plan, right? You make all these to-do lists, you make all these plans, and something goes awry. People don't show up at the right time. The movers don't show up. We were getting our car shipped from California to here, and the person who was supposed to drive the trailer thing fell through at the last time, and the company called us and said, we don't even have a driver, and we were supposed to leave. So what were we going to do with the car, and blah, blah, blah. And Kristen was just losing it because she needs to have a plan, and there is no plan. Okay. And the more, I mean, it sounds humorous now, but in the midst of it, it's actually very nerve-wracking, because when she is stressed like that, she wants plans, she wants a to-do list, she wants certainty, she wants rules, she wants to know step by step what's going to happen. And because sometimes you can't, because a move is fucking crazy, excuse my French, I am a wolf, right? I just sort of plan in my head and solve problems in my head and call people and make arrangements by myself. I barely ever tell Kristen if something fell through. I just handle it. So I'm that kind of person. Then Kristen is coming and complaining to me, this didn't go right, that didn't go. What are we going to do this? What are we going to do with that? And you need to do this and you need to do that. And remember, a wolf is also a person who does not like being told what to do. Okay. So notice this, she needs rules, she needs a to-do list, she needs a plan. I don't like being told what to do or being asked too many questions. I actually handle things by myself, and I don't like a lot of what are we going to do if this happens and then that happens and this happens and then that happens, because I'm like, I don't know if any of this will happen. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So for a long time, right, I would not know how to handle this. Neither of us knew how to handle it. She would get mad at me because I wasn't making lists and making plans. And I would get mad because I was feeling suffocated and controlled and like I had to manage her anxiety all the time, which as a wolf feels really unfair to me because I manage my own emotions to a fault, right? Too much so that I have to remind myself to be vulnerable and to maintain connection. So we would step on each other's toes and get upset with each other. And once I figured this out, right? The different personalities and the way we were interacting with each other and why, and what are the core wounds of each of these personalities? What are the core needs of each of these personalities? How do they communicate? What is it that they want? How do they want to be reassured? Stuff like that. It took me years and years and years to slowly put it together. But once I did, this move, I know how to reassure Kristen now, right? I know that she is worried about disconnection because she's a sheep. She also, when she is upset or anxious, becomes ruminative and imagines all these doomsday scenarios and wants everything organized and have all these rules. I know that. Before I knew that, I would try to reassure her like this. What's a big deal? It's just a car. I laugh now because I can see how absurd it is. But we all reassure people based on how we like to be reassured. Okay. For me, I tend to place very, very, very minor importance or even thought onto material things. So for me, if, we put in an offer on a house and it fell through, I don't care. If, something fell on a car on our roof, I'm like, all right, as long as nobody was in the car, who cares? Just a car, right? I tend to be like that. So I think that's how the other person would like to be reassured too. So I'd say, oh, it's just a car. At the end of the day, we're all healthy. We're all fine. Who cares? Just a car. Never worked with Kristen, right? Of course not. She wants some plan, and here I am being all like zen, like, oh, who cares? It's just a car. Didn't help. She would end up feeling abandoned and blamed in some way, as if I'm saying that she's too materialistic, and we'd get into an argument. Right? I've seen this play out with other couples where a sheep, right? If you are, even when you're triggered, if you're a sheep, you really like connection. You like hugs, you like, rubs on your back, you like affection. So you give that too when somebody else is triggered. Whereas the other person is like, why are you hugging me? That's not helping right now. Okay. I am freaking out about why, our teenager isn't home and it's 10 p.m. and you're just hugging me. Like, what are you doing? Because we give reassurance based on how we want it. And then we're really confused when those signals are crossed. They don't work. They don't land with the other person. So suffice to say, one of the ways that I was able to reassure Kristen during this move was to, instead of saying the usual things that I say, in fairness, this is something that I've been able to do over the last few years and has really helped both of us. I've also shared my thoughts with her, and she's now knows how to reassure me. That's another Facebook Live. For this, I just want to say the way I reassure her now is to say, we're in this together. Let's make a plan. We're in this together. Here, come sit down. Let's make a plan. It's amazing how understood she feels when I say that. We're going to make a plan anyway, because hailstorms will make a plan. So it's not like it's not going to happen either way. We're making a plan either way. But when I'm the one who says, okay, come here, let's make a plan, we're in this together, then her nervous system, I can visibly see it settling down. Okay. That's all I had to do. Notice anyway, we're going to make a plan. Of course, we have to make some sort of plan. We always do. And just because I'm a wolf, I'm not opposed to a to-do list. I make my own to-do list sometimes. It's not that we wouldn't have done that anyway, but me saying that helps the hailstorm feel understood and supported and reassured. The same hailstorm, if I'd given a hug or said, oh, you know what, infinite cosmos is with us and we are all, connected and it's just a car, all of that would have made the other person feel worse. They'd have felt misunderstood, unsupported, and like they have to do everything. So I want to leave you guys today with this. You have to know what are your baseline styles. What style do you go into when you're triggered? What is it for your loved one? And how can you know what is your core wound? What is your growth edge? And how do you need to be reassured? And what is the other person's core wound, core growth edge? And how do they need to be reassured? When you know that for all four types, so many misunderstandings and miscommunications settle down. It just dissolves. Just like that. You don't need a lot of effort. It just, it's like mist clearing, Anyway, I wish I'd known all this. If I'd known this 15, 20 years ago, man, I could have had a lot less suffering in my life and caused a lot less suffering in the lives of people I cared about. So my mission is to share that as much as I can with as many people as I can. And as I said earlier, we go really deep into all of this in HYR. So if that's something that you are interested in, just comment below HYR. That's the name of the program, Heal Your Relationships, HYR. Just comment HYR so we know you're interested, and somebody from my team will reach out with some more information, and then you can decide if you want to do it or not. Totally up to you. We'll just get you the information that you want or need. Okay. But even if you don't, if you never join HYR, at least go get help from somebody else, because the number one thing you can do that you will be glad and proud of on your deathbed is learning how to love and connect better with yourself and with those around you. To me, that is the most sacred work, because that is also the legacy you will leave your children. So if it's not with us, go get help somewhere else. Doesn't matter where. It only matters that you have the courage to step toward it and learn things that are in your blind spot right now, right? You don't know what you don't know. So be willing to learn and grow. You will be rewarded 10,000-fold. I certainly have been, because I was willing to trudge up that hill. So with that, my friends, thank you for watching and listening. I love you, and have a great rest of the day. Mwah. Bye.